Oh. Yeah, I did get the cold brew. Here it is. It's right here. It's got foam on the top. It's not as unhealthy as hot coffee. Doesn't mean it's healthy, it just means I think it's less unhealthy than the normal stuff. Plus, certain coffees can be more toxic just because of the way they brew it. More addictive and more toxic. Imagine being addicted to something that's toxic, and the toxic it being toxic and addictive go hand in hand. Uh, so yeah, interesting. I got into it with Janet in the morning yesterday morning. The other day I climbed so I don't know, a month ago I bought a shovel. I went to Home Depot, bought a shovel. I had a $25 gift card, but that's not why I bought the shovel. But I bought a shovel. And then I went looking for places to dig. And I wound up finding a nice little hill. It's called Turtle Hill or Turtle Rock. Basically, it's two hills. It's not a hard climb, but it's a climb up a hill. Then it's a dip, and then you go up again. So it's a hill, you climb up, and then it dips a little bit, then you go up again. So the next one's higher. And I found a place to dig, and I dug a hole, and I took off my shoes, and I put my feet in, and that was that. And then I came back again, maybe a month later, 3 weeks later, and I brought the shovel again, and I dug the hole out a little more. First I couldn't find it, then I found it, and then I started thinking to myself, you know what? I should fill that hole back in, because when I was digging it out, or a little bit bigger the second time, I noticed, how dry and cracked the top of the dirt was, or soil, or you want to call it dirt or soil. I noticed how I didn't feel good about it necessarily like I did. It wasn't as fun as the first time. So, I did that the second time. I dug it out a little wider and then left. And I started thinking to myself, you know what? I should fill that in, or I should donate something to the earth as a gift. And if I do that, well, it's good. It's good for, it'll be good for you. You want to put something in the ground that's healthy for the ground, and the earth or ground will reciprocate the gesture. So what I'm saying is there's a connection, not necessarily just the grounding connection, which is why you put your feet or walk on grass, because you're supposed to be grounded, but a bigger metaphysical connection that I personally, I feel like I'm kind of onto something, but I'm just more in the experimental phase kind of right now. I'm just kind of trying different things. But I have past experiences of this, so I'm just trying to so anyway, so I started thinking, I need to put something in the hole, and I was just going to collect food scraps. I was going to collect food scraps and old coffee grinds. Just give the earth some nice, chemistry, something that'll rot, not something full of chemicals necessarily, but yeah, something that'll rot and have all kinds of life activity in the dirt. But I went to do that, but as I seemed to be like in a rush, so I left and I didn't really have anything. I didn't have any old food scraps. I didn't grab anything, maybe something that's been sitting in the freezer for forever that's, hasn't been touched. I probably could have done that, but I just wound up bringing my Celtic sea salt, and there's some brown sugar, and I had a lemon in my bag. So I got there and I moved the dirt around a little bit. I dumped the salt and sugar out of the bag into the dirt, into the little hole that I dug. And this is what I got in a argument with Janet yesterday morning about it. But anyway, I realized last night that was wrong to dump the sugar and salt like that. I should have dumped water first, or maybe even mixed it, then dumped it with the water. But dumping the dry sugar onto the earth was a bad feel, kind of. And I don't know why I felt like this last night. The image, because I took photos and I had Margaret shoot a video with my phone. So I took photos and I texted one of the photos to Janet yesterday, because this is what we fought about. She was, and I put the lemon in there too, because she was complaining that what am I doing with the kids. I'm like, well, we went out and we dug a hole, and I'm watching them every weekend, so we got into a fight basically. But I don't know why, I felt triggered. I felt extra offended. I don't know why. I shouldn't have been that triggered or that angry at her. But I really was angry. I really was offended that she had anything to say when they're with me every weekend. Does she want them with her or on their tablets like this, this is a large amount of the time, like on your tablet, on a screen, playing Roblox or whatever. So anyways, last night I realized that I did it wrong. I shouldn't have put the sugar in. Then I was really pissed at her, because she's complaining that I did that. Well, what do you care, Janet? I thought I was gonna, I could have put a pine cone in the ground, or, I did put a smashed up lemon in it. It doesn't really matter. It's my own thing. It's my own fucking experiment. I could do what I want, and they can, do it with me. And so I was thinking about getting a big bag of sugar, and I told her last night because she's complaining, I dumped the sugar in the ground, which was just like a little bit of sugar, brown sugar. But I told her, look, I'm going to take a big, like 30-pound bag of sugar to your work. How about that? So she said she would call the police if I did that. But the police aren't going to do anything about a bag of sugar. They don't care. They got better things to do. But the police don't care, Janet. They're not gonna stop me from bringing a bag of sugar to your work. So, but now since she's complaining about it, she's not complaining. She just kind of mentioned it like in a rude way that I didn't like, and she's like, kind of like, what are you teaching them? This is not, the sugar and that's not how you plant stuff, or what do you? Well, Janet, what are you doing? You're not in their lives, period. For a large amount of time, you're at work, and the money you're making doesn't justify the sacrifice you're making of not seeing your kids for 10 hours a day and not really spending most of the weekend with them either. So the money is not big enough, in my opinion, for the work. But since you want to act single, I think you will be single very soon. But, so we got into it, and I told her, look, they're going to stay with you on the weekends, or, But I don't know, I think I might double it up now. I might go back to the same spot, dig a different hole, and get a big bag of sugar. The sugar I put was just like basically like a, not even a cup full, maybe like, just like a tiny bit of sugar, like whatever was left in the bottom of a little plastic bag of sugar. And then I poured my Celtic sea salt that I use usually for the beer. That's why I put it in mostly, probably. But it was really the coarse. It wasn't that fine. It was coarse. So I put my salt in there, and then I put the leftover water that I think I had figured I had over mineralized, so that had been sitting for a little bit. So I put water, salt. I did put water, but I put the sugar and salt in there dry. And then with the image I texted her, it felt like it bounced back at me last night, as I was sleeping, and it hit me that I shouldn't have put it in dry like that. That I should have poured water first or immediately. So the image itself is I did put water after I put the sugar and salt and lemon. I put the lemon first, I think, before the water. But now, since she's complaining about it, I might just get a bigger bag of sugar just for the fun of it, and actually fill up the whole 5-gallon thing of water But I'll put water first and then sugar, and I'll mix it all in as I go. But it'll be water. There'll be water first in the ground, so there won't be any dry connection. And yeah, so Janet, you can look forward to me doing more of this stuff, and I'll just take a lot of photos and pictures and video as I usually do, and I'll send it to you while you're at work so you can see what we're doing. And you can go ahead, cry me a river. But yeah, it is kind of an experiment now, a real experiment, with the connection with the earth itself. So I'm going to keep upping it. I was thinking about copper pipes and driving them into the ground, but I don't know, I might hold off on that. I might just keep going with the sugar thing. So what you put in the ground does have a difference. So I guess you could say the substance of what you put in the ground makes a difference, right? Whether it's, so sugar is something very specific. It's probably not the best, like for the ground, but it was just what I had on hand. Now, would the ground or earth like that or not like that? I don't know. Would it be better to not do that? It'd probably be better to put something that's going to rot, and have all kinds of stuff going on versus sugar. You don't want to put anything processed, obviously. You don't want, if you do put sugar, you want it to be brown, natural sugar. Yeah, it was just interesting how that kind of hit me last night. It was the photo itself of the dry sugar and salt on the dry ground that wasn't really appeasing or appealing to the ground itself, right? That has life. So that kind of hit me last night, and I could kind of feel that dryness that it was reflected back, but it was just a photo because I did add water afterwards. But I did take the photo of that dryness, basically. So, in all fairness, I did add water. It wasn't a permanent state, but next time, if I do it again, and I might just do it, I might take a 5-pound bag of sugar or a 10-pound bag of sugar and the 5-gallon water jug and whatever else I want to do. I might do it. Yeah. So what is the relationship, and how do we, what's the I don't want to say hypothesis, but what's the what have I learned? Well, I don't know, I felt really deeply offended by her complaining yesterday. Kind of went off after she had a complaint about that. I kind of got angry. Kind of still am angry, actually. I'm not going to do anything bad, but I did suggest I would bring a nice big bag of sugar to her and her work. Big bag bag of brown sugar. Yeah, it wasn't just the brown sugar. I put salt, but yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna keep going though, probably with it. I might do this next weekend, or I don't know. When I got a day off and Margaret and Natasha have a day off, we're gonna continue the saga. When you have 30-pound bags of sugar, but the more sugar I bring, the bigger the hole I gotta dig. So I'd say 5 pounds or 10 pounds should be good. But I don't want it to harm or I don't think it'll harm the earth. Probably won't mind some sugar. I don't know. But yeah, there is a connection with us and the earth and our environment. You've heard it said that, well, in the Bible that we came from the earth, but I've been in a lot of these different groups who have different theories about humans and where we came from, and one of the theories is that we came from the earth and that all the genetic material from these titans basically was in the earth, and that's where we came from. I don't know, but you've heard the saying dust to dust, but yeah, one of those theories where the titans and their bodies are, yeah, so that was a theory. I don't know how true it is. It's just a personal metaphysical journey. I mean, there's people that talk about mountains or hills being melted buildings, but to me that's lacking a lot of the spiritual connection. It's just being so scientific, but something's very lacking, and that thing that's lacking is probably the more important than your facts that, hey, this is a melted building. That connection is the more important part, I think, versus, okay, well, I figured out this whole cliff side used to be a building, and here's the door, and where's the window, and nobody climbed this cliff and carved out holes or doors into the side of the mountain, right? So it's so insane. But the actual connection that you have with this land or whatever, that is the thing that's missing, that you're missing. I feel that I think you should go investigate that and how to get more connected with Earth. Obviously, you've had to have heard about grounding, how the Earth can heal you. So that whole absence, and then there's a connection with the rocks. Okay, well, this rock has an effect, this rock has an effect, a different effect, such and such effect. So you tell me these rocks are just melted? These rocks are just I don't know. I think it's too dismissive of. I think there's a lot missing from the puzzle that's being put together. So that theory was, okay, there's a grid and there's a meltdown and it melted from the bottom up, and you still have things that survived showing, and then you have so is that is that energy still there, and is there stronger energy points versus weaker? Yes, there is. Of course, there's stronger points to the earth that have more energy. There's all those different points, right? Those ley lines and whatever. But I'm not looking for a particular point. I'm just enjoying the earth as it is, without science, just without seeing it as a melted building. But yeah, that is kind of a different way once you see things in that way. But so what is this energy then? Is it still there? It must be. If it's still there, it must be there still. Is the earth a living thing now? Now we're getting into real stuff that's consciousness. Is the earth conscious? Yes, the earth has a relationship with a cloud, with the sky. You can see this all the time. You can see a cloud hanging out, hovering over a mountain, for instance. Like the one in Japan, I see quite often. So we know there's a relationship between these elements. Yeah, is the earth conscious, right? Does it have its own consciousness? We know trees grow out of it, fruit and all kinds of life. Lizards, snakes, all gophers, all kinds of creatures make their home in the earth. Oil, crude oil, that's in earth. They say another word for earth is heart, right? Earth. I think they say the root word is heart. What else? What am I trying to get to here? Yeah, does it have a consciousness, right? I mean, there's a relationship. I know when I had that money down, I had put some money down on a piece of land in Hawaii. But I could feel the connection, like in my gut, again with the gut talk, but I could feel the connection inside me, kind of, with the earth itself. So, just that ownership, or that there was a connection there. That's stronger than probably a car, right? This is a different kind of connection, A connection with the earth. A connection with the earth. Gert. Sounds kind of funny, huh? A connection with the earth. So yeah, I mean, there's places that they don't want you to go. There's the Grand Canyon. There's all these old tales about people, but then you come across something like melted buildings, and hey, this is just a melted building, and here are all the caves and pathways. This wasn't dug out. It was built, and it melted, and now it looks like how it looks. And it's all you can't hide it. You can't hide it. You can only try to make up a different story. Oh yeah, the natives, they carved this out of say they took a rope and went down this cliff and then they carved a house out of the side of the mountain here. Yeah, okay. So you got to tell some tall tales to try to explain it. But I think the definition of, hey, yeah, this is melted. This is that fits. And the brick. So the brick is the giveaway. The red brick that's ballooned out into these rocks. Really fascinating. I'm not trying to get to that discussion, but it is fascinating what we're not told. It's how much bullshit is fed to people about everything. History, history when you talk about wars, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, or just history itself of Earth. I mean, like, hello, Tartarian Empire, or, it's just crazy. So, yeah, what should I bury though? Should I just keep going? I mean, I can be as weird. I can dig a hole. I can put stuff in it, and I don't have to explain myself to anybody. That's the funny thing. That she kind of attacked me for doing that. It's just, I don't know. I didn't expect it. Well, Janet, I'm spending time with your kids, and you're not spending time with them as much as me. And your money that you're making is, I guess you can try to justify everything with money. Hey, I'm making money. But I don't think it's enough when you don't have to. If you have to, there's nobody else in the picture, okay. But that's not the case. Yeah, I might, I don't know. I don't know if the ground wants sugar. Well, sugar comes from sugar cane, right? From the ground, but I'm not sure if how healthy it is. Probably won't mind. I'd figure if it's a mud flood or a mountain or a melted building, or if it's a giant or it's Earth. We're just playing around. We're not trying to be too serious. We don't want to go to that kind of frigid. We want to have fun. I wouldn't mind trying to duplicate some of Wilhelm Reich's work. The Cloudbuster, Orgone Generator. That's probably a worthwhile endeavor. We're trying to duplicate or copy some of these other devices that are free energy, or can run a car on water, like Stanley Meyer fuel cell or whatever. I'm sure a lot of people think that too. Hey, they want to duplicate all these things. So they can have free energy, basically cheap, next to free. Right? If you can run a car on 8 ounces of water, probably not the only one thinking that wants to duplicate those things. Help yourself and humanity at the same time.